You are listening to a True North Eager Beaver media podcast. The True North Eager Beaver podcasts are proudly brought to you by our founding sponsors, the Miss V Mysteries from Corvid Moon Publishing, your source for science fiction, fantasy, and cozy mysteries featuring a broad diversity of characters. CanadianTarot.com, your uniquely Canadian online eclectic tarot community and forum, and The Peppermaster, hot pepper sauces made from fresh farm ingredients to thrill your taste buds and expand your mind.
Well, good morning and hello, kids. Oh, I'm hearing something in my ears. I feel like I have to toggle something. Mr. Grizzly, do I?
Yes, you should toggle your noise. You're getting some feedback there. But while you're doing that, I'm going to give you this. May you live 100 years. May you drink 100 beers. Get plastered, you bastard. Happy birthday to you.
Ah, yay. If I drank 100 beers, it probably would be the last day of my life.
Well, if you're 100 years old, you only got 50 more
That
years
ain't
to
no
go.
matter.
And start working on it now.
Thank you so much, Mr. Grizzly. Yes, indeed. It is a Beaver birthday, and thank you all to the kits showing so much love. Kits and cups already in the chat. Thank you. Wow. Okay. Hello. And welcome, kits. Welcome to season 3, to episode number 123 of the Daily Beaver here on the Crier Media Network. Today, recording day is Friday, May 19th, 2023. And no matter what the weather is outside, it will be a sunny day here at the Beaver Lodge because it's my favorite day of the year. It's my birthday. Yay! All right. I'm your host, the birthday beaver, pronouns he, him, just feed me cake, eh? And with me, as always, looking less like a grizzly and more like a blueberry today.
It's cold in here, man. It's like 1 degree outside. And
I know.
I
I know. Last night I was out like for 2 seconds to just go bring something from inside outside, like to the garage and back. And like right here on my body was frozen. It was like, wow, I was only outside 10 seconds. How did my skin get so cold? Apparently it was just 1. It was 1 degree Celsius last night.
Cold. Well, I went after work yesterday. It was like they finished the big production we'd been working on. It was a really busy work week, and everything went very smoothly yesterday. For those who were curious, it was a success, a great success. But emotionally exhausted because it draws a lot out of you. So I said I'm going to go to the pub and have a beer, and texted my buddy, and I went and sat down at the front bar, and he walks in. He goes, "What are you doing?" I go, "Having a beer. You're joining me." He goes, "No. Why are you inside?" I'm like, it's not that warm out. We're sitting on the patio in the sun. I'm like, all right, okay, fine. Just call me. And he goes, did you leave your testicles at home? Like, where is it? Come on, man up.
You've gotten
So
soft.
we went and sat in the sun, and where we were in that corner, it was warm. There was no wind, so it was warm. But as soon as the sun dipped behind the buildings, it got chilly really quickly because it was only 16 degrees, right?
Yep.
So in the sun, warm. I had a sweater on though.
Yep.
But yeah, once that sun dipped below the buildings, it got cold quickly, and hence the hoodie this morning because it is a little chilly in here. I'm not sure. Let me check the temperature actually. I think it's 18 degrees in here. Hang on a second. I'm going to double check on that.
All right. Well, while Mr. Grizzly is doing that, I think I will do a little something for myself here. Oh, and look who's watching, Kit Jen. There's one thing I didn't do yet to finish up my daily preparations is put on a little birthday cologne. So I'm going to do that right now. Just put some on the inside of the beaver there, beaver wrists. And I will not crush the smell. Never do that and then rub them. Rub your things together when you put it in. That crushes the smell. That's not good. So there we go. Now I'm all cologne'd up. I'm ready for the show. Okay. Of course, a big thank you goes to our podcast founding sponsors, the Peppermaster, the Miss V Mysteries from Corvid Moon Publishing, and CanadianTarot.com. I believe we have a Friday morning beaver bite. Not just a nibble today. We've got time.
I'm at home, so yeah, I got lots of time.
All right. But first, we must say hello to Mr. Grizzly and ask you, sir, how's your mental health doing today? Seems like, according to the kids, we've got Beaver in the hood.
Well, good morning, Mr. Beaver. I mean, we'll just get the formality out of the way because, we've been chatting for a few minutes here. I'm great today. Had a wonderful evening, spent some time with some friends, had a quality night's sleep, woke up feeling refreshed. And normally I don't feel refreshed in the morning. I felt refreshed. Sporting my new spectacles. You can't really tell, but
ooh, Stas.
Well, it's my
looks like they're rimless.
Yeah, they're rimless. Yeah. Script change, so I ordered a new pair. These are the flex metal they call them, I guess.
Okay, yes.
They don't. This is what they go in. Anyway, they're
that's great.
They're super lightweight and anti all of the stuff. Yeah, all of that. I order my glasses from zennyoptical.com because, and this is, look, I'm going to plug them because I have a case, replacement nose pads, a screwdriver, polishing cloth, 4 sets of polarized clip-ons, including one that is for 3D movies. So if I go to a 3D movie, I just clip them on and I'm good to go.
Nice.
For $167, all taxes in, delivered. Yeah, that's why I go to Zenny Optical, because forget it. I can't go to an optical store and pay $700 or $800 for a pair of glasses. We talked about this just the other day. It's outrageously expensive. So yeah, zennyoptical.com, ZENNI. By all means, if you need glasses, go there. Put all your information in. Everything's guaranteed, and it's quality product. And guess what? Just like everything else, it's made in China. Just like all the other ones are. All the other ones are, because Luxottica owns 80 or 90% of the industry, and they build it for as cheap as they can and sell it for everything they want. I mean, they almost forced Oakley into bankruptcy, and Oakley had to sell to them. The Oakley sunglasses, yeah. So all the innovation that Oakley used to have, it's been gone for years. It's Luxottica is just about generating money and nothing else. They don't care about their product. They can come after me all they want. It's been proven time and time again. If you ever watch Adam Ruins Everything, he's got a show about it.
All right. We got Kit James from Black Belt saying, I made a Tinder account. Haven't swiped right once. Maybe I need glasses. We'll say good morning to the kits. We got Kit Linda M here. We've got Kit Bruce, who is up early today. Good morning to you, sir. Kit Ellen, Kit Tavi G, Kit Jillian, Kit Jim, Kit Toronto Dan. Oh, we've changed our handle name. Nice to see you, my friend. We've got, let's see, Kit Ellen. I have mentioned Bruce, but we'll say hello again. Christian, bon matin, mon ami. Bon matin, mon pote. Comment vas-tu? Let's see, Kit Jen, of course, who you said hello to. Kit Kath needs a Snickers. Hello, hello. Kit Saucy, lovely to see you today as well. Kit Tim, everybody's here. The gang's all here for my birthday, Kit Jim. Thank you so much. You guys are wonderful. Aw, thanks. All right.
So you're wearing your cologne is from Lush Cosmetics,
Lush,
correct?
yes.
I wear my own.
Atkinson's.
That's what I wear. Oud Save the King, Mystic Essence. But I'm sure there's a distant relation there. This is from London, England.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oud Save the King?
Oud Save the King. Oud is a type of wood.
It's
look, that is, the bottle is like this big. It's very tiny. That's the actual size of the bottle, actually, on your screen. Unless you're watching this on a 55-inch.
It's Mystic Essence, too.
Yeah, it's 30 milliliters, so it's 1 ounce. It's a scented oil. It's expensive, but I discovered it when I was in New Delhi, and I was in a shopping district, and I was walking along, and I see this giant bear costume, and I see my name plastered all over the window of this perfumery, and I'm like, what the hell is this? I have no idea. So I went in and met the rep, and I said, do I get a discount? And he goes, why? And I pulled out my passport and showed him my name, and he goes, we'll give you a discount. So I got a discount. He gave me some extra, freebie stuff. And so, it's the moment he says, I think you might like this. He talked to me for about 15 minutes before he suggested a particular fragrance. He says, I think you'll like this. And I'm like, fell in love with it right away. So,
wow. Well, there you go. There you go.
It's my signature. And it has my name on it. So I think it's kind of cool.
Atkinson's Mystic Essence.
Yes. That is me.
All right. We have some headlines. Some of them I can't inform you very much about because, for example, there was a debate in Alberta. But I haven't watched it yet.
Neither have I misjudged the time. I thought it was on at 7 p.m. our time. So I tune in and I'm like, what? It's over? What? Huh? So I'll have to catch it on the replay later today.
Yep. I was at rehearsal, and because it's birthday weekend for both yours truly and mon sweetie, we're going to have a house full of people this weekend. As you can see, I already got the linens out to change the bed for the guest room, and the TV is off the bed, which means I finished painting.
Well, that's good.
That was a job. As I've mentioned, Kits, at the end of a few shows or a few shows ago, I was feeling a little overwhelmed. I still am, to be totally honest.
Why is that?
Well, it's just, at the end of March when my Beaver sweetie had his surgery, I had to pick up some extra for 6 weeks. He couldn't drive, so I had to do everything either by bike or by bus, which took longer.
Right.
So, you fall behind, and that's fine. I mean, you're taking care of the person you love. It's what you do. But you fall behind. And then I went to Ottawa for a week for the workshops during the first week of rehearsals for this play that I'm doing now. So then the concert was coming, so I had to focus all my energy on remembering what was going on for the concert, which was on the 6th, before I could free all my mental capacity to remember for this play. So I'm about a week to a week and a half behind everyone. Just a full week for the week I was gone, and then I lost more time while I was focused more on the concert than the play. I'm about 3 to 4 days behind now, I would say. I made a big qualitative jump yesterday. We're supposed to be all off book on the 17th. I am not off book. There just hasn't been time.
Off book? What does that mean?
That means you're not holding the book in your hand when you're at rehearsal. You're actually, when you can't remember your line, you say line and somebody feeds it to you. And so you can't have a crutch of looking.
That's kind of what I figured, but maybe we could explain it to everybody, because off book sounds like you're doing some illegal bookmaking.
Yes. It just means that you're not allowed to look down at the script in your hand. You got to, if you don't know it, you say line and hope you can figure it out. And then about a week and a half from now, we probably won't be allowed to even say line again at all. It's like you just figure it out, make it happen, improvise then if you don't know it. But then make a note and go back and study that passage, make sure you got it. But I went into rehearsal yesterday exhausted. fully exhausted, like to the point of potentially wanting to take the director aside and saying, you know what, I need you to take a little bit off my plate too right now.
Mhm.
Fortunately, about 10 to 15 minutes in the rehearsal, I don't know what it is working with these people, but I felt great.
Oh, that's good.
Great. All my energy was there because I'm sitting there. I delivered like the first line. It was always hot in my grandparents, like just like
Mhm.
making sure that I remember the words and like no feeling, no emotion, nothing, just in it. Turns out I wasn't the only one feeling that way yesterday. I found out after. But the rehearsal, it's amazing how you can go into some place and thinking like, I just really don't want to be here tonight. I'd really
Mhm.
rather just be sleeping. I don't have the energy for this. I'm peopled out. And we had the best rehearsal by far we've had.
Cool.
I don't know how it happens, but sometimes it does happen that way. So we've got to play, my friend.
Nice.
We've got a good one, a really good one. I would if you have the time on this one, I would recommend you come and see this one.
Uh-huh.
It's madcap comedy in the whole first act, really fast, snappy, boom, 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 boom. And then the second act, bring your Kleenex, you will cry.
That's a challenge
I've
accepted.
cried every single rehearsal. In a play, when I have to cry,
Mhm.
sometimes I usually don't get there until like the absolute last performance,
Mhm.
where everybody's like at their best and giving everything, and like and you're getting all the emotion. I cried from the first rehearsal.
Oh,
We're
good.
actually going to put hankies and Kleenex in every single pocket in every single costume I have.
Good to know.
Because
So
I can't
I have
stop.
2 simple requests, and I have to get this off my chest. 2 simple
Okay.
requests. One, um, why does it look like you're in Batman's villain's lair? You're crooked. Number 1. And 2, you need to
Oh,
adjust your
fix the
camera
camera.
because the logo's right over your dome, and yeah, just move a bit the other way. There we go. So
Right.
just
There we go.
there you go. You were out of frame, and the logo was right on your forehead, and somebody with OCD and ADHD like me, it just kind of it's just how I am.
How you like me
Yeah, now
now?
you're gonna sit in the other side, right?
How you
Just
like me now?
yeah, stop it.
The Beaver is cheeky.
Yeah.
So yeah, the rehearsal went really well, and fortunately, another group with whom I do some murder mysteries, uh, proactively said it seems that you're having some scheduling problems because we're trying to find some time to rehearse something. Says if you can tell me now, I can find someone to replace you for this one. It was like, oh my god, thank God, please.
You gotta give the title of the show. Jen's asking.
Pardon?
Jen is asking, what's the
Oh, what's
title
the
of the
show
show?
cause? Yes. Oh, sorry. Over the River and Through the Woods by
To
Joe
grandmother's house
DiPietro.
we go.
Yes, exactly. Yep. So uh, I, that's exactly why, because I'm always at my grandparents' place. uh, so yeah, it's going to be a great show. I'm feeling really good about it, and with the load lightened in a few places, it's amazing how one person sends you an email and saying, I can take this off your plate, and it's just like,
Mm. Thank you. Yes, thank you very
thank
much. Thank
you,
you. Yeah.
thank you. How long is it? It's maybe about an hour and a half. It's
As
pretty
long as it
fast,
needs to be.
as long as it needs to be. Yeah. And we have good quality actors, so the energy and the snappiness will be good. So we'll probably get the runtime down a little bit. So it might even be an hour and 20 or
Cool.
something. It's not that long a play. It's 2 acts, but it's only about 50 pages in our script. And again, there's a lot of fast bounce, bounce, bounce. So I'm figuring it'll go pretty fast. Um, all right. In the headline, so I mentioned there
Let
was
me
a debate. Oh,
let's get to it. Before we get to the debate, let's get to this video clip that has made the rounds.
okay.
Um,
Oh, yeah, her, him. Sorry. No, we don't have sound, Mr. Grizzly.
no sound?
No.
Really? Hang on. Should have sound. I'll try it again. Just give me a second here. La, la,
Kid James is
la.
asking me, will I be on Casual Friday tonight? I am hoping to be, but I do not know if I will be because this is the studio and the guest room, and my lack of a better word, I've got to be so sorry, Mr. Grizzly.
Okay.
Would there have been any value in meeting with Mr. Johnson just to hear him out?
No.
What? You don't hear it?
No, I hear it. Hold on.
I don't know what's going on. I'm very confused. Very, very confused. Yes, there will be echo when you're speaking because you can't speak while the video is playing. So when the video plays, you can't speak.
Okay. Why am I speaking?
Well, I was just getting it. I thought you were done.
Okay. All right. Let's go.
Yes. Would there have been any value in meeting with Mr. Johnson just to hear him out?
No. He is Justin Trudeau's ski buddy, his cottage neighbor, his family friend, and a member of the Trudeau Foundation, which got $140,000 from Beijing. He has a fake job, and he's unable to do it impartially. He needs to simply hand it over and allow an independent public inquiry into Beijing's interference.
So was it a scheduling conflict?
No.
So you chose not, you deliberately did not meet with Mr. Johnson?
I did not meet with him. I chose not to meet with him. Yeah.
Christ, what an asshole.
What an asshole.
After
he lied. His office says, no, there was a scheduling conflict. No, I chose not to meet with him. This guy lies so damn often that he doesn't know what the truth is. Like, what an asshole. I just can't. Apparently, the media is not sitting very easy with this one. I've not seen a lot, but I have seen some stuff online about people going, no, he definitely crossed the line. I'm like, look, he crossed that line a long time ago. But what he did yesterday, unacceptable.
That whole thing was lies.
Yeah. Yeah.
He's got a fake job. Because he was the president of the Trudeau Foundation when he was also the president of Western University.
Mm-hmm.
The Trudeau Foundation is a scholarship foundation.
Yeah.
He's not part of the Trudeau Foundation anymore.
It's not a think tank. It's a scholarship program.
He wasn't Justin Trudeau's ski buddy. He's 30 years older than the guy.
Yeah.
He wasn't like all of this is just completely lies.
And who appointed him?
Huh?
Who was it who appointed him as Governor General?
Stephen Harper, and extended
him because he was that good.
Yeah, because he was that good. I don't get this. I guess, and have you ever heard? Like you got to get Dan going here. I met David Johnson in 2007 at a celebration of life for a homeless man kicked to death in a park. David Johnson is a nice guy. Have you ever heard anybody at all?
No,
like
not
in
once.
the last 20 years,
not
say
once.
something wrong about David Johnson until now?
Nope, never have. You never will. The man is without reproach. He's
so now we've got a guy who's got a fake job, who is apparently so inherently corrupt that he'd be willing to take this job for the sole purpose of whitewashing the guy who. I don't get this. And if PP is going like this, like you got Kit Bruce going, part of me wants to watch Max Bernier win in Portage Lisgar to watch PP squirm. And, I've said the same thing. I'm pulling for Max in this one. Even though I know that's probably going to have other consequences after. That probably will have, it's both like digging a hole to fill up another hole. Okay, we will be creating another hole, however, Max wins. But the thing is, as we mentioned in the previous show, right, are we going to get a PPC versus CPC preview in this by-election? Right? How hard is PP going to go? This doesn't look like he can pivot whatsoever. He's got one mode, jugular. And that's it. I can't see him not getting involved in that by-election. Get James. Oliver supporters don't notice the Harpo connection because their skulls only completely hardened like 4 years ago. And until that time, they were repeatedly dropped. On it.
Smooth brains.
So, we have a leader of the opposition now who refuses to get a security clearance. Well, a heightened security clearance that would allow him to see national intelligence. So he's not in a position to keep us safe. He's deliberately making it so. He will not be exposed to intelligence.
Mm-hmm.
Then he's bashing the CBC, and the president of the CBC says, I would like to meet with you so that we can discuss this. And he's got time for lots of things, but he doesn't have time for that. And then he's been spending the last, I don't know, month and a half bashing the former governor general, who's supposed to deliver his decision on the 23rd
Mm-hmm.
as to what we're going next. And he has his office say that he's just too busy to meet with him. He's got a scheduled thing. And then he stands up himself and says, no, I just don't want to meet him. So we have a guy who wants to be Prime Minister of Canada, allegedly, who doesn't want to get any information and never wants to meet with anybody who might potentially tell him something that goes against his chosen narrative, because he wants to, I guess, have that imaginary fig leaf of deniability that he didn't know.
I guess.
Yeah, Kid James. Pullover's campaign tagline: I promise to stay as far away from intelligence as possible. The Prime Minister travels for work. He takes a shit fit, but he refuses to commit to not taking that jet ever. He's traveling left, right, and center all across the country on our time and on our dime.
Yes,
But
because he's not doing his job that he was elected to do and represent his constituents, because he's campaigning for something that isn't going to happen for a couple more years.
No,
he's totally adopted the American style of politics, and I think yesterday he crossed a line that a lot of people didn't think he would cross. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think a lot of people just went, "Oh, that we're done with this guy now."
And the worst part is that, he normally does his histrionics and all that kind of stuff. He's just like sitting there, it's like, no, I just no.
Being a smug little prick.
It's like, back Fagan Geschichte.
Mm-hmm.
He's got a face.
Yeah,
I've
got a face you want to
rarely seen a man with a face more designed for slapping.
Yeah, he's 9.5 in the Shirley face punch scale.
Oh my God.
And here's something. I don't know. I just saw this a moment ago. I don't know. I clipped it. I'm going to put it on the screen in a sec. I don't know if this is true, but we're going to have to look into this a little bit. It says breaking, Freedom Convoy ripped off by Pierre Poilievre. Pretending he was with them, Poilievre conned them out of $460,000 for a donation to his leadership campaign. It was like stealing candy from a baby. He also signed up thousands for CPC memberships they did not need. I don't know if that's true. It wouldn't surprise me. I don't know if it's true. We'll have to look into that. But there's a lot of people saying that, apparently this is real. Again, when I say it like that, it sounds like I'm Trump. A lot of people are saying, many people are saying, I don't know that it's true. I will look into it. Yeah. See if I can find some more information.
Yeah, because that could just as easily be, well, how do you like it, BB? People just say anything about you type of tweet. But yeah, that would be more than interesting. Kid James, sorry, I forgot to answer your question about Blackball tonight. I am hoping to be there, but my, for lack of a better word, Beaver father-in-law is usually an early to bed, early to rise kind of guy, and this is the room. So not looking great, but if I can set up the mobile studio maybe in the living room, I might be able to do it. I know we tend to laugh a lot and get a little loud during the show, so it's not like I want to keep the house awake either. So I'm trying to find a way that I can, long answer short, I'm trying to find a way that I can do it tonight, because I really would like to spend a few birthday hours with the Blackballed crew tonight. So I will try my best. But I can't guarantee it, unfortunately. I'm going on the promo anyway. Okay, all right. Place a cake with one candle strategically somewhere in that photo.
I'll pop in. I'll pop in around 10.
All right. So we have, I'm trying to find this thing from PP, because what happened yesterday, before all of that, is, well, there was a statement was delivered, but it came once again via, official messenger, if you would, Mr. Grizzly.
Just a second.
There we go. Brian Lilly. This is a fake job held by someone who can't do it impartially. Mr. Johnson is a ski buddy, cottage neighbor, and family friend of the Prime Minister. He's part of the Trudeau Foundation, blah, blah, blah. So he basically took the quote.
Parroting.
Right?
Parroting, yeah.
But yeah, so he took the quote, but he wrote, here's the full statement from the office of Pierre Poilievre on why he didn't meet with David Johnson about foreign interference. It's pretty aggressive. It's also 100% accurate.
Yeah.
Once again, Lilly puts it out. Another statement, not on Leatherhead, to which his name is not put. Now, fortunately, he did say it in front of the camera, so it wasn't like the other one, because when he denied Christine, he would not say that in front of a camera. But it's like, when you won't get proper security clearance and you won't meet with the president of the CBC, and now you won't meet a guy, the rapporteur, who's going to make a recommendation on election interference. Once, an accident. Twice, a coincidence. 3, we've got a pattern and an MO. What's he hiding? What's he hiding? What is it about him that he does not want to be known? That he does not want to meet people? In other words, what I keep on saying is, what is it that you're doing with that other hand that you got me on speakerphone?
Yeah.
I'm just saying. But, if you're looking for, I don't know, every time I see a little statement like this from Brian Lilly, I just get a little Diana Krall in my head. She covered Nat King Cole's Errand Boy for Rhythm song. It's like, when you lost your leatherhead, won't put name to what you said. He's an errand boy for PP. Lily, if you have no follow through, he'll deliver straight to you. He's an errand boy for PP. Lily. That man is
here I got a photo here somebody just sent me. Somebody mentioned Justin Trudeau's name in front of Pierre.
Oh no. That's pretty much it, isn't it?
It's an AI, of course, but
yes, but that's pretty much it, isn't it?
All you got to do is walk around and go, Justin Trudeau made the economy better. Justin Trudeau lifted people out of poverty. Justin Trudeau gave dental care to people that are in low-income families. Justin Trudeau gave childcare, $10 a day daycare. And you want to cancel all these things. Remember, folks, he wants to cancel all of them because, what did he say? We're conservatives. We don't believe in that sort of thing.
Man.
Yeah.
He doesn't believe in a lot of things, this guy.
No.
All right. So anyway, as I was mentioning about the debate, I can't tell you much about it because I said I was so busy cleaning rehearsals and then cleaning up the place, so I hadn't watched it yet. Based on what I can hear on the news, there were no knockout punches. There very rarely are in these types of things. Smith kept it, focused on affordability and promised once again, the catch-all solution to everything from conservative, some tax cuts. Tax cuts, of course, that probably won't benefit, the people who need the most help because they already don't pay a lot of taxes because they don't have money. A tax cut doesn't help people who don't pay taxes or pay very little taxes.
Indeed.
Yeah. So you actually have to be fortunate enough to have enough money to be paying a substantial amount of taxes for a tax cut to actually be a benefit to you.
Just give me a second. I'll be right back.
And Rachel Notley, for her part, was basically focusing on character. And, basically you can't trust Smith. Pollster Janet Brown says in a debate like this, it probably won't make much difference. And that 95% of the time, the debates don't really matter in the ultimate outcome when it comes to the vote. But I don't know, man. This is, I don't know how you can we're in this world where we're having an election with one person who's serious and one person who's a total cartoon. And we keep saying this again and again. We saw it with Trump. We're seeing it all over the States. PP's doing the same thing. And it's just like, and people are like, yeah, I like the points that the cartoon is making. It's a freaking cartoon. It's a freaking cartoon, man. It's like, why are you voting? Anyway. After the debates, there was some scrumming. And this one in particular seems to be making the rounds. Now, you know how we showed yesterday the picture of Danielle where she looked very much like Danny Wilkes-Smith when she just parts her hair to one side?
Mm-hmm.
Well, here we go here. All of a sudden, Danny Wilkes is gone. And we've got Danny Glam. She's got waves. She doesn't look like she'd be wielding a sledgehammer here. Now dressed in conservative blue. Now, here's the thing I want you to look at when she's talking. Never mind the words as much as you can, but always keep the look at the face. And this is where, and Max Fawcett made this comment, that in a lot of people's minds, Smith would have won the debate on presentation. Now, people are saying, well, she lied. You can't win. Not content, presentation, right? Often you look at things with the sound off and see how things come across. If you look at her and just look at her face and whatnot, she looks absolutely delightful here.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
But then there are the words that are coming out of her mouth. So here we go.
Press play.
I've answered that question.
Are you agree with the version of the January 6th call between you and Tyler Shandro that Tyler Shandro explained to the ethics commissioner?
I've answered the question.
No, you haven't.
Okay, that's all the time we have.
Do you, ma'am?
Thanks, everyone.
You can answer the question. You don't need to, but you could.
Okay, now I'm going to play that with the sound off for a second. Okay, so this is what she said, right? Clearly, she's uncomfortable, but the entire time she's looking very calm. She keeps that smile. She looks away. She smiles big. She walks away very calmly, right? But the words, right? Okay. Now, for people watching at home, you can't see this, but
for people listening, you mean?
For people listening, sorry. Yes, sorry. At home, you won't be able to see this. For people watching, you will be able to see this. Yes,
I'll edit it out.
Is indeed very forced, but she's looking very, very calm and pleasant. Right? Right? She looks like she had a great press conference with the sound off. This is the thing at which she is the master. This type of stuff.
Yeah.
Presentation. So you're sitting there, it's like, well, she sounds reasonable, but she's out of her.
I already answered the question. No, you didn't. I love that. Love that. That's what I want. More of that, please.
Yes. Yes. She is smug and dismissive.
Yeah,
absolutely.
she is.
Absolutely. And when you hear the words, that's what the look is. But take the words out and listen with the sound off.
I'll be right back.
This is what people hook on. This is what people hook on. You have to remember that when you're communicating, only about 22% of the message is the actual words. The rest is your eye contact, your smile, your demeanor, your tone of voice, your inflection, all of that stuff. She's a master of that. Kid Jim goes, it will be dubbed with different content later. Yes. Yes. And as Kid James says, Charles Adler also pointed out that Smith is most effective when she's reading her own words rather than improvising. So, what's that's about is it seems that yesterday the ethics commissioner report came out into her little phone call with Pawlowski. And for some reason, we had a tale of two stories. We've got the UCP and people like Kean saying that the ethics commissioner completely cleared her. And Well, they're saying because they weren't able to find a single email between her office or her staff and actual prosecutors. But you have to remember that search was specifically only for emails, right? Not WhatsApp messages or maybe things sent from a non-government email account or sent through other encrypted services. It was strictly only emails from government accounts, only until the end of last year. Nothing from the beginning of this year, between the start of this year and the time the phone call with Pawlowski allegedly also happened. Or reportedly, I should say. But the ethics commissioner ruled that she broke the law.
Mm.
So you got the UCP going out saying that she's been cleared because there was no evidence of an email between anyone in her office and an actual prosecutor. But she spoke to the Minister of Justice and the Attorney General. Now everybody's going again, oh, see, she's guilty of the exact same thing that Justin Trudeau was, blah, blah. Well, you raked Justin Trudeau over the coals for that, so are we going to get equal treatment? Probably not. And again, the difference that people keep on, oh, well, they both talked to the Minister of Justice and the AG and they both got wrapped by the ethics commissioner. It's the exact same thing. Except that at the federal level, there actually exists deferred prosecution agreement legislation that expressly allows the Prime Minister or the Cabinet to have a conversation with the Attorney General or Minister of Justice on deferred prosecution, which is for the benefit of people involved in the organization that had nothing to do with the crime, so that they don't lose their jobs or their pensions. It's not for the benefit of the people that committed the crime. And deferred prosecution is exactly that, deferred prosecution. You have a set of conditions that are imposed on you in lieu of a trial that a judge directly supervises and makes sure that you have implemented. And if you have not implemented those things to the satisfaction of the judge, then your butt gets dragged back in court for the trial. You only avoid the trial if you make legally required changes. So we're solving the problem. Over here, she had talks with the Minister of Justice and a phone call with the defendant in a criminal case that was currently before the courts, for which he was tried for mischief, not only on property, but mischief that could cause danger to lives, which has a maximum penalty of life in prison. Prime Minister Trudeau wasn't on the phone call with the president of SNC or the board. Tell him, hey, I got you. I'll make this go away for you, or I'll see what I can do. These are completely different. Completely different. She broke the ethics violation by talking to the minister, and that ethics thing doesn't cover the call.
No.
The actual call. A criminal defendant. She took his call and acted like his manservant.
Well, he's a pastor, and she's got a thing for pastors. He calls himself a pastor anyway.
Yeah. So
all he preaches is hatred.
Yeah. So it's like, I've already answered that question.
No, you didn't. I love that so much.
I'm not going to answer that question, but you can ask the ethics commissioner. She'll tell you. No, the ethics commissioner can't even tell you if they open an investigation. She does that a lot. I can't answer that question because it might be before the court soon. I can't answer that question.
How convenient.
I can't answer that question. I'm only going to take one question because we're in a campaign now. No, it hasn't been dropped yet. She lies. She lies like she
lies so damn often.
And now they're sitting there. This is the irony, is that they're making the equivalence. They're saying this is the exact same thing as Trudeau did, and yet they're not doing to her what they did to Trudeau.
No. It's
These
ridiculous.
people are unbelievable.
It's redonkulous.
Sliding scale morality. If the bad thing happens while people are wearing blue, it's a good thing. If the thing happens while people are wearing red, it's a bad thing. It's the exact same thing. Just depends on the color of your jersey.
Poopsie.
Yeah. Ugh. All right. Enough about them. We got some better news. Well, better news. We've got some economic news for you.
We've got news.
Yes. Just news. Yeah. Rather than just a train wreck of the day. The inflation rate for the month of April has been revealed, and it did go up slightly. Everybody was expecting maybe a drop from 4.3 to about 4.1 or 4 economists, but it turns out that it went up to 4.4. Now, it's only 1/10, and we're being told that it's driven primarily by increases in rents and mortgages, but has been offset by a drop in food inflation from 9.7% to 9.1%. I'm thinking some people, the stock market panicked a little bit when they saw that. There was a big drop of 200 points in one day and that kind of stuff. And I'm not seeing this. I mean, financial stuff is not my expertise, but I'm not seeing this as a bad thing, because if the core inflation rate went up 0.1%, but food inflation rate went down 0.6%, and we all eat, but not all of us have renewed a mortgage or got a rent increase in the last month, that's probably a net benefit overall. Food going down 0.6 and everything in general going up 0.1, primarily fueled by rent and mortgage increases. So this puts the Bank of Canada in an interesting situation with regard to interest rates, because if the primary reason for which inflation is rising is now, in part, the actions the bank has taken by making mortgages more expensive because of the interest rate hikes, and making rents more expensive because people might still be, building owners might still be paying mortgages on the buildings, and so rent goes up a little bit. Well, the bank has been having this will it, won't it on cutting rates before the end of this year. And at first it looked like it was going to happen, and then it looked it may not happen because of what was going on with U.S. banks. But if inflation is now being fueled by bank action, wouldn't it seem logical that bank would want to pull back on the action?
Well, I'm not an economist, so I don't know.
Yeah. Like I said, I don't know. But the waters are a little murkier here with this this bit of information. But with food inflation going down 0.6%, that's good, because that was the one that was dragging, and that's like I said, we all eat.
Yeah, it doesn't matter what your walk in life or lot in life is. You got to eat. You got to eat. You don't live very long if you don't eat, as evidenced by the death cult in, where is it at?
Kenya.
Kenya, thank you. I wanted to say Zimbabwe.
Last check, that's up to 109 bodies found now.
Yeah,
and there's still still a few hundred missing.
You want to meet Jesus? What's the old saying? Honk if you love Jesus. Text if you want to meet him.
Yeah.
Nothing worse than trying to text someone and a cyclist bounces off your windscreen.
Particularly bad for the cyclist.
Yes.
Just in other so
like how I slipped that in there. That kind of worked out well, didn't it?
That really worked out well. Now, with regard to rents and mortgages, there's been other data that's come out from I believe it's rentals.ca. They have been doing a study of rent. Well, based on what's on their site, they're looking at rents, and they have gone up about 20%. And I'm trying to find the data. Unfortunately, I don't know. My computer's really weird.
It happens. It happens.
Sometimes things just vanish from it. Hold on. Let's see. Maybe I moved it into the actual script thing. Nope, I didn't. It's just vanished.
It's
I took all this data. But rents are up in Vancouver. The price of an average one bedroom is $2,700. In Toronto, $2,500. The average two bedroom in Vancouver is $3,700 a month. Mostly, prices are being affected by what's called rent evictions. There are some stories. There's a tale going on the Current right now. They interviewed a lady who's been, I think, rent evicted 3 times over the last 7 years or something, or 15 years in BC. And every time they have to move to another place, the rent goes up $500, right?
Yeah, and this is greed that is forcing people out of the rental market, for crying out loud. These people will have to move into a shelter, because when rents come to the point where you can't afford it anymore, because the middle class has been slowly diminished over the last 50 years. I'd say actually the last 43 years is when the precipitous fall began, thanks to Ronald Reagan and his trickle-down economic theory, when he ended the Eisenhower's 90% corporate taxation over a certain amount of money. Anyway, it's Reagan started the downfall of Western civilization. He might not think it, and at the time, I'm sure he didn't. And I don't know that, and I honestly don't even know that if he was punching down intentionally then. I don't know. I honestly don't know. And we may never know, but he basically started the precipitous decline of the middle class, which and to end the middle class, the dollar figure just keeps going up, and wages have not kept pace with productivity. I've talked about this for I don't know how many times on this show, and I'll about it because it's true. But we can rein that in and actually start paying people a livable wage, and which is not the minimum amount you're allowed to pay somebody. It's supposed to be the minimum amount you need to live. Well, here's one from Jillian. Look at this. The upper apartment where I live went from 1,800. Whoops, I clicked the wrong link. Sorry.
To 2,350.
Yeah.
Wow, this month because
Crazy.
old tenant moved out. Yeah. So I'm watching this there. It says average rents across Canada are now up over 20% since rebounding from their pandemic lows. The average asking rent in April was $2,002, unchanged from March, but up 9.6% from a year ago, according to the latest monthly report from rentals.ca. Compared to the low of 1662 reached in April 2021 in the midst of the pandemic, rents are now up by 20% or $340 per month, the report added. For the major metro areas like Toronto and Vancouver, the increase is even more striking, with average rents up in those cities by 41 and 47%, respectively, since 2012. And Ontario saw the fastest rent growth of all provinces. Rents increased the most in Ontario, where they were up 16.7%. Alberta was close behind with an average year-over-year rent growth of 14.8%. And the slowest annual rent increases were seen in British Columbia at 5.6%, but that's 5.6% above a very, very, very high number to start with.
According to Zumper.com, as of May 2023, the average rent for a one-bedroom apartment in Ottawa is $1,755. This is an 11% increase compared to the previous year. Yep. Almost $1,800.
Yep. And Calgary is the city where price growth grew the fastest, with an annual rise of 22.9%. If you're talking about mid-sized markets, Scarborough and Brampton, 31.9% and 31.2%. So that's for rentals. Now, if you own a house, the average prices of houses have been declining for the last while. Well, in the first 4 months of this year, they have rebounded. The average Canadian house price rose to $716,000 in April, up $100,000 since January. That's a pretty big and fast rebound.
Well, I've got some numbers here for you in Ottawa that I think you'll find curious.
Okay.
They different areas of the city. So one-bedroom apartments for rent near the Civic Hospital in that area is $2,100 a month. 1-bedroom apartments for rent in the Byward Market, $1,895, and 1-bedroom apartments for rent in Vanier, which has traditionally been the lowest rental costs in the city, $1,523. So even though that's a big drop from the market or the civic area, $1,500 for a 1-bedroom is still a big chunk of money.
In Vanier.
Yeah, and we're talking not in a new building. This is like a basement apartment in an old building, and when your neighbor breaks wind, you hear it.
Yep. Yeah. So according to with housing prices, according to the Canadian Real Estate Association, the average selling price of a home that it sold on its MLS system went for $716,000. Like I said, $100,000 more since the start of the year. Prices, the average price had peaked at $816,000 in February of 2022, right before the Bank of Canada began its aggressive campaign of rate hikes. So basically, half of it was recovered. Half the loss was recovered in the first 4 months of this year.
Wow.
Those are prices going up fast. Average prices bottom out a few months later at just under $630,000 in July. But after essentially moving sideways until the start of 2023, the market has seemingly resumed its upward momentum ever since. Now, if you happen to be living in Windsor, Essex, well, this is a buyer's market for you, because between April 2022 and April 2023, the year-over-year change in housing prices is down 16.5%. If you're in St. Catharines, it's down 14.2%. London and St. Thomas down 13.5%, and Hamilton down 11.2%. But if you get to Ottawa, down 8.8%. Edmonton down 5.9%. If you're in Trois-Rivières, down 2.5%. If you happen to be living in the Saguenay region, your prices are still going up. 2.2%.
I used to live there.
St. John, 2.3%. Calgary, 2.6%. Quebec City, 3.4%. And if you happen to be, I don't want to say unlucky enough to be living in Sherbrooke, because Sherbrooke's a gorgeous place.
Mm-hmm.
But if you're unlucky enough to be looking for a home in Sherbrooke, while prices had gone down between April and April, year over year in many places, in Sherbrooke, they're up 11%.
Wow.
Yeah.
This is a curious graph. Watch this jump. So this, you can see here the numbers. Vanier Market, Civic Hospital for a 1-bedroom. Watch what happens when I go to 2-bedroom.
Boom.
The market's very expensive. And if we go to 3-bedroom, so let's say you have a couple of kids and you need an apartment, it drops for a 3-bedroom in the market. And I think that has to do with maybe there's not many of them. I don't know. It's weird.
I don't know.
But for a 3-bedroom apartment in Vanier is $2,400. That is
Wow.
a chunk of change, my friends.
Wow.
That is in a studio. What's a studio? $1,300 for a studio. A studio is about 350 square feet. It's just one room. You have a separate room for your toilet and tub and that. But like,
if you get it, sometimes it's just a standing shower.
That's correct. Yes. Yeah. Yeah. Oftentimes it's just a stand-up shower. So yeah, that's wow. Housing is outrageous right now.
Yeah. Now it says if you
35-year-olds living in their parents' basement. Sorry.
Yeah, really. Much of the rebound stems from an uptick in sales in the GTA and BC's Lower Mainland area. So if you take the numbers from those two markets and you strip them out, the national average price drops by more than $144,000 to an average house price of $572,000 in places that are not Toronto or Vancouver. So there you go, kids. So if you're looking for a house, probably not great news. If you already have a home and it's part of your retirement investment portfolio, well, you've recovered about half of your losses. So there you go. It's amazing how some financial news can be great for one group and not great for another. Like I'm noticing, like as a homeowner, right? It's like we just bought our home and then prices started to drop, and it's like, oh, great. It's like, here we go. And now they're rebounding. And it's like, I'm feeling better because of that. But I know plenty of people who are not. And that's the thing with politics, right, kids? It's like you can vote for yourself. You can vote for other people. And that's what I'm saying. It's like, if you happen to be fortunate enough to be in a position in your life, and I'm saying this, that I'm fortunate enough to be in a position of my life where I'm not worrying. Like, as you say, Mr. Grizzly, when I go buy my food at the grocery store, I'm not breaking out the calculator to see if I've got enough.
Yeah.
I'm not so comfortable that I'm not watching my dollars.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Overall,
you're not.
you know, I have a monthly budget and it's fixed, and I've had to make some cuts and stuff as price, but I am fortunate, and I'm aware that I'm fortunate that I'm not worrying about this. But if you are,
Oh yeah,
right, life is different for you, and that means that for me, when I'm casting my vote, I could cast my vote just selfishly for me. Yeah, keep those housing prices going up. Like, keep that supply tight. You know, like this. You know, shortages are good for my retirement. But I don't want that. I happen to have the luxury of voting not just for me.
Yeah, exactly.
It's a luxury. It's a luxury. But if you have it, please think a little broader when you cast your vote.
Mm-hmm.
Just asking you to consider it. Oh, Mr. Grizzly. In other news, looked like there was going to be a strike at WestJet and Swoop.
And it's not happening now?
No, it's not happening. There were about 111 flights that were canceled already, but they came up with an 11th hour deal that gives better terms for the pilots in terms of work flexibility, salary, that type of stuff. And the strike is going to be averted. So for people who had long weekend travel plans with WestJet or Swoop,
power of the people,
seems that you might be okay. So that's always good news. It's always good news when you can avoid a strike, but sometimes you have to have one, like we had with the public servants, because sometimes you just have to get your respect. You have to go out and get yours.
Well, and you know, it's in my line of work oftentimes. It's like, we need to update this soon. We need to update this soon. Guys, we got to update this soon. We're going to have a problem. We have a big thing coming up. We're going to need to update this soon. Yeah, we'll get to it. We'll get to it. That's when I'm hoping, I want this to break today during the big important meeting. And then I will pull out the email thread, say, remember all these times I said we needed to fix this? And I've had that meeting with a boss. I said, sometimes things need to break at an inopportune time so people will understand when I say we need to do this.
Yep.
Oftentimes, you know, my line of work gets ignored because my job is to make things work and look smooth and run. But when the technology fails and dies, as it does, I want it to do it in a spectacular fashion so people can see you need to reinvest in this.
Mm-hmm.
For instance, a few years ago, there was a government server in New Brunswick, and I'll say it had to do with housing. I can't remember exactly what it was, but they were told time and time and time again, we have to upgrade this. Mm-hmm. It is on its last legs. Yeah, we'll get to it. We'll get to it. They never got to it. It crashed. All of a sudden, they had to spend millions of dollars to recover the data and build a new system, like literally overnight. And it cost them millions because they had to do it immediately.
Yep.
Instead of, it could have cost us less money if you had to listen to me the first time when I said, you know, it's the old saying in my line of work, pay me now or pay me a whole lot more later.
If you want it done well and fast, you can't get it cheap.
It doesn't come that way. It doesn't work that way.
And when something breaks down at the last minute, you need it fixed, you need it done well, and you need it done fast. It ain't going to come cheap.
It's not cheap.
Right?
No.
It's that the triangle of opportunity, I think it's called.
Mm-hmm.
If you want it fast and cheap, you can't get it well done. If you want it well done and cheap, you can't get it fast. And if you want it fast and well done, you can't get it cheap. You got to pick two of the three. You can't get all three.
Yeah. That's just it. Yeah. You got to pick two of them. Which ones do you want? What's important to you? And it's true. It's true. That's how life is when it comes to, well, pretty much anything that requires a dollar investment.
Right?
Quality isn't cheap. There's a reason for it.
You know where I picked up that? Think about the triangle of opportunity. You think I would have caught that in business school, right?
Mm-hmm.
Or in communication strategy school. No, I picked that up off the TV show Queer as Folk. Seriously.
This is a good one from Alan. No one was prepared for the mass boomer retirement. Hello? They weren't going to live forever. I remember years ago, watching.
We all know when everybody's born. We already know it's 65 years from when the day that was. It's not like we can't plan this.
I remember years ago I was turn on the evening news, the late evening news with Lloyd Robertson, and he comes on, says, the census is out and we're getting older than we were 5 years ago. No shit. Who wrote this copy? Who's the idiot who wrote? I'm looking at that going, did Lloyd just say the stupidest thing I've ever heard in my life? We're older now than we were 5 years ago. Oh, Lloyd. You got to review the stuff on the teleprompter sometimes, dude, because that's clearly an obvious statement. We are older than we were 5 years ago.
Well, that way, yes. Yes, stated that way, clearly.
And that's what he said. We're getting older.
It's like this. That's when they take the shortcuts, right? Instead of saying like the average population is getting, age of the population is getting older. We're just saying we're getting older. Well, duh. That's like when my sister showed up for my mom's wake. You have to understand, right? My mother married a black man in the 60s. So there were a lot of members of her family that stopped having communication with us.
Yeah.
At that time. We're going to the wake, and some of my aunts see my sister and goes, "Oh, Debbie, how you've grown." And when everybody went home, my sister just like lost it at one point, right? Because she's not seen these people like in 30 years. Right?
Oh, really? You've grown in 30 years? Really?
It's like, well, my sister's about 2 years older than I am.
Right.
Right. And my parents separated before I was born. So my sister and brother stayed with my dad. I was with my mom.
Right.
Anybody relative on my mom's side of the family saw nobody since they separated. Like this, and she just lost it. She just came out as soon as like the door was closed. It said, "You've grown." That beep 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 beep. I hope it beep that I've grown. I haven't seen the beep in 30 years.
Yeah.
Oh.
How about stating the blatantly obvious?
It's like, but it's just imagine like you're sitting there like this. It's like, why have you grown? You're shaking hands. And it's like, yeah. It's like, yeah, fuck you, bitch. It's just,
I would have told you about the finger. Why, thank you, Captain Obvious.
But that that's a situation where you just absolutely don't know what to say. So it just says, "What's your name?" "My name is blah." You ever see that Drawn Together episode? You ever watch that series, Drawn Together?
I don't know.
Okay,
no.
It was like a fake reality series where everybody was a cartoon and they'd been placed in a sort of Big Brother house, and then like they're talking about each other, and all these superheroes or Disney princesses or whatnot are just like the worst people in humanity that can exist. And so you got this Disney princess, that sort of looks like Ariel like this, but she's like a big time racist. And there's one episode where her twin sister comes out and she's like wearing a hockey helmet like this, and she's gorgeous and everything, but her name is blah. I say, "My name is blah." And I always said, yeah, right there. That's my dating game. "Hi, you're cute. What's your name?" "Okay. Well, it was nice meeting you." "But wait. I'm actually rather intelligent and somewhat charming." "Oh, okay."
Sure you are.
Sorry.
Yeah.
As that person walks away, your voice comes back, and then they turn around. "Oh, really?" "Oh, yeah. Okay, bye."
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Story of my life. Again, it's amazing, kids, that I am not a virgin still. Thank God for men who make the first move. That's all I will say. I'd be a very, very lonely beaver. I have no game. All right. Also in financial news, that's not so happy. If you happen to be in the restaurant business, well, since 2002, bankruptcy filings in the food services industry are up 116%.
Wow.
Yeah. Inflation, labor shortages, and COVID loan repayment and other pandemic-related debt are the main issues. It seems that for a good chunk of restaurants, they're only able to operate at a maximum of 80% capacity still because of labor shortages.
Oh, labor shortages. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not a labor shortage. It's that you don't pay well enough for me to work there. Shortage is what it is.
Yeah. So
And we got to reframe that too, because there's a labor shortage. No, there isn't. There's enough people.
there's
not
a living
doing
wage
work.
shortage.
That's the problem. There's a wage shortage, not a labor shortage.
Yeah.
Get it
There's
right.
a salary that confers dignity shortage.
Well,
the dignity of work. Yeah. Well, if work is dignified, then pay me in a dignified manner.
Well,
Jeez.
it's like when you in the United States, and I don't know that it's happening here. I would not be surprised if it was. But in the United States, where you walk into a Walmart and they have a food bank donation for their employees. So you can purchase food and on your way out, drop a couple of tins in the bin for the food bank for their employees. Maybe give them, I don't know, a living wage and enough hours to actually work, like a 40-hour work week or. PNC Bio says here, they already have reduced wages in restaurants. And actually, no. In Ontario, the minimum wage for servers is the same right across the board now. That changed a couple of years ago.
Good.
Yeah. It's they got rid of that 2-tiered minimum wage. Well, servers get tips. Yeah. Why am I should not be subsidizing their wages. I shouldn't have to be doing that.
The tip should be over and above their salary.
Yes.
Not in the year of.
They should have a livable wage to begin with. And the tips are like, thanks. We really appreciate the efforts you put in today.
Especially now, because we're still thankful for the people who show up.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right? We're still in it. Like, I know that we've moved on, but we're still in it. So, yeah, you got to be thankful. And you know what? You never go wrong when you put a little gratitude in your attitude.
This is true.
So there you go. All right. Other news stuff. There's more from the E. Jean Carrol case. This thing just keeps on giving. Just keeps on giving.
It slices, it dices, it juliennes. But wait, there's more. If you act now for only $9.95, we will send you
this beautiful cutting board.
I was going with more litigation, but sure.
More litigation. I like a cutting board. Let's cut her. All right. Yeah, more. It appears that in the case, for most of them, the questions, remember when I read a list of questions and the jury had to answer? Well, the juries did have to answer all of those questions unanimously. For all of them, it was, because it's a civil case, we talk about a preponderance of evidence. But it seems that for certain ones, you needed more than that. There's another standard called clear and convincing evidence. So it seems that in trials, there are 3. There's a preponderance of evidence. So you could say like 50% plus 1. A clear and convincing evidence, which I don't know if there's a percentage number, but considerably more, like maybe 70%. I guess, and then beyond a reasonable doubt. So for everything, it was a preponderance of evidence except for these 2 questions. Was the statement false? Was the statement made with actual malice? Those 2 questions had to be proven by clear and convincing evidence and not just a preponderance. And the jury still said yes, unanimously, to those 2 things. Now, E. Jean Carrol did something that was really smart. Apparently, she did not ask for a sum of money in damages when she filed the case. She always maintained that she was there to clear her name. So the jury could have said, okay, we've cleared your name. We found him guilty. You get awarded $1. Because she didn't ask for anything. They awarded her $5 million.
Oh.
And the $5 million, we all hear $5 million, but it turns out that the $5 million breaks down into several different things, which I thought was extremely interesting when you hear the breakdown. So $2 million to compensate for the actual battery and $20,000 in punitive damages for the malice. $1 million for compensatory damages not related to her reputation. So that's just an extra $1 million thrown in. 1.7 million in damages for her for the reputational rapport program that she had to get, because they found that in making the statements, Trump had acted with hatred, maliciousness, ill will, out of spite, or with wanton, reckless, or willful disregard for the rights of the victim. And for that, she was awarded an extra $280,000 in punitive damages for a total of $5 million. So $300,000 total in punitive damages just because he was an asshole. And then an extra $1 million for compensatory damages to her reputation that has nothing to do with any costs that she incurred to trying to rehabilitate.
Well.
And then he went right out and set himself up for another lawsuit. Now, the question is whether or not they're going to pursue it, because obviously these types of lawsuits are very emotional for the people who file. I'm sure her lawyers are ready to go.
Oh, yeah.
But it's going to depend on her whether or not she wants to sue him another time for having done what he did. Personally, looking from the outside, I say sue every time. But you are the first person to ever get him convicted. You've done yeoman's work.
You've done the world a service.
If you want to sit this one out, I think I'm good. But
you've done more than anybody else has.
I really would like, because I have a feeling that the compensatory damages the second time would be a whole lot more. Because at this point, it's just depraved indifference, right? Man. This guy. And talking about Americans, George Santos, he had his 13 charges. And those are 7 counts of wire fraud.
That's not good.
3 counts of money laundering.
Oh, that's bad.
1 count of theft of public funds.
Bad, not good.
And 2 counts of lying to the House of Representatives on financial forms.
You're gonna lose your job.
Could face a maximum of up to 20 years. It seems that he has settled his case in Brazil for the checks that he took out of someone's purse. And now they were going to charge him in absentia anyway, so it doesn't really matter.
It didn't matter. He was going up the river.
Yes, but he's been charged for that. And it just, I find something really, really interesting in that for all the talk that's been going on about drag queens and those transgender people, those awful drag queens and transgender people that are criminals and ruining lives and just looking to prey on everyone. And we should really, 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 really do something about them. And it seems that, the drag people who are criminals turn out to be, Mr. Grizzly, Republicans.
If you're waiting for it to load
up
there we go.
Oh, George
just
Santos,
takes a few seconds.
AKA Kitara Ravash.
Oh, well. He does make a pretty good-looking drag queen, though, doesn't he? I mean, I'm not going to lie.
Indeed.
He makes a good-looking drag queen.
And that was part of the story. Apparently, he was trying to enter the drag committee over there. Didn't have the money, didn't have the funds, so he looked like the dollar store drag queen. Which, that'll work. You just need. We had one in Toronto called Donorama. Your discount drag queen, right?
No, I got it.
So,
Dollarama.
And then, so just really, really, really interesting. And of course, we have the other one, famous Republican drag queen, who looks like he might have some sexual misconduct charges coming. Mr. Grizzly, Would you put it up?
Just here we go. Just waiting for it to load.
Okay. Rudy Giuliani.
Mm-hmm.
So you have Rudy in drag, you have George Santos in drag, and everybody's losing their minds about drag queens, I guess, and they're calling
What
them
about
criminals.
these drag queens?
I guess, and the two biggest criminal drag queens that we know of at the moment. Yes. And both of them, well, actually, we were going to say both of them didn't touch kids, but we have that Borat movie.
Yes. When we saw
with
what
Rudy.
he was
So, yeah. I just, every accusation is a confession.
Everyone.
Now, Kits, of course, on behalf of actual queens the world over, let me do my best Mariah Carey, and I don't know her.
I don't know.
I don't know her. Never met her. Let me pull a Donald Trump. I don't know her. I never met her, and they're definitely not my type.
Yeah.
I actually had to say that to someone at one point. Somebody was like trying to troll me on Twitter, and it's like they were talking about something. I can't remember what it was. Oh, darn, I wish I could, because I came up with a really good one. But it was like, I was sending it with... right. The big fish that got away. Oh, you should have seen it. No, really. It was a great Twitter own. But no, some guy was really coming... He called himself Oil Well Trash or something. Anyway, I don't remember, but he was saying something about embarrassing or something like this, and I was thinking, like, the only way that would happen is either situation A or situation B. If you're making a pass at me and you're into humiliation kink, and I'm sorry, but I'm just not that into you. Mute. Bye. Thank you. Next, you're weird. Just darn. If I could find it, that would have. If I could have found it, that would have been great for you. Because I don't know. I was typing. Oh yeah, you twit for brains or something, and I thought, well, that's pretty standard and basic. And I thought, maybe I could come up with something a little more clever.
Cheekier.
Yeah, cheekier. Basic, because that's one of these things that these people don't like to do when they're saying things. Oh yeah, there we go. It was about flags.
Oh,
it was about flags. Yes,
fun with flags.
Yeah,
Sheldon Cooper.
Exactly. Max Fawcett tweeted, "Clean win for Danielle Smith. In my opinion, no knockout, but she definitely scored more points because presentation over content, right?"
Mm-hmm.
And then someone wrote, "Yep, that promise at the end by Danielle Smith to listen to Albertans was fantastic. A leader we can get behind." And it's funny because as she wrote that, maybe Danielle Smith blocked you. Yep, that promise at the end by Danielle Smith to listen to Albertans was fantastic. And then twit, maybe remove some flags next time. Because yes, you're only worthy of being spoken to if you don't show your trans pride or your rainbow pride flag. So I'm like, so that's a no on freedom of expression then, right? And then expression versus you bow to me or you are scum are not the same. I was like, I agree. I mean, if my merely expressing myself with flags makes you feel like scum who needs to bow to me, well, either you have very low self-esteem or you've just told me that you're kinky and into humiliation play. Sorry, but I'm just not that into you. Mute.
So this comment here from PNC Bio, why won't the right just admit wearing a dress is fun sometimes? I have to imagine the reduction in cognitive distance might make them a little nicer. I have sort of a strange commentary to go along with this. So here's my commentary. Oftentimes you have to go to formal meetings and it's summer and it's Ottawa and it's 37 degrees with humidity and you're in a suit. You might not be wearing a tie, but you're wearing a jacket, perhaps a waistcoat, definitely a dress shirt, cufflinks, And the lady is wearing a lovely sundress, which is perfectly acceptable office
Yes.
attire.
Sundresses for men, bring them on.
Which one of us is more comfortable in that weather? Like, I'm sweating like a pig. Meanwhile, she's in this flighty. I'm like, if I could get away with it.
Yeah. When I started working, I did that because I was like the young communications guy and they expected that I would be hip and with it. When
Mhm.
summer came along, it's like there was a pair of pants in the office in case I needed them, but it was shorts, baby.
Yeah.
Now
I'd
shorts,
wear-
shirt and
I'd-
tie, like, Bermuda style.
Yeah.
Yeah, like
So
this,
the
when you're
knee-high socks and
yeah, but yeah, shorts.
Mhm.
Hell no. And it's like, you gotta, again, I sweat standing at the corner waiting for the light to turn from red to green. You're getting leg.
Well, and here's what
that limits my career too bad.
Ellen's statement: kilts. I look good in a kilt.
Mm-hmm.
I do.
Mm-hmm. I have a few too, but they tend to be way shorter than the standard.
Mm.
That's back from my clubbing days.
Ah.
When you're dancing on top of the speaker and moving your hips in suggestive patterns. Let's put it that way. That was my game. I couldn't cruise, but I had body language.
Mm.
So you want to ask me out on a date? You do. Trust me. I'm fun.
Well.
Watch me dance. Oh man, I'm giving away way too much information.
It happens.
All right. What else do we have going on here? Let's look. Okay, that's the Jean Carroll stuff. That's the Santos stuff. All that is good. All right. Yes. Ontario Liberal leadership race. We have a candidate. And not just any candidate. Nathaniel Erskin-Smith.
Oh, okay.
He has declared. He has declared. Probably about the only person who could throw his name in the race right now who would get instant media attention and have some credibility. And someone who could definitely take that party in a different direction. PC and Bio, I'm pretty sure that's a schoolgirl outfit, Douglas. Very close, but not quite. Very close, but not quite PNC. But yes. Let's just say I can do a oh baby routine.
This is a photograph of me on New Year's Eve 1999.
There you go.
I rolled into the year 2000 with bleach blonde hair, construction boots, wool socks, and a kilt.
There you go. There you go. Nice stuff. So yeah, he is he was elected at 32. He's 38 now. Has been seen a little bit as a maverick within the federal Liberal Party because he has voted every now and then against his party and sometimes has voted with another party. Now, he's a maverick as much as one can be when one votes 96% of the time with their party.
Well,
but those 4 times they stand out, right? Because everybody knows his name. He's never been in cabinet, right? It's very difficult if you've been in a government for 8 years and you've never made it to cabinet. I think he might have been a parliamentary secretary for a very brief stint, but never got elevated within. And still people know who he is. So this is a guy who knows how to work the media machine, which is kind of what the party needed because the last guy they had as leader, not very good in front of the media. Not very good. So he's voted against the government, including motions 13 times in his first year. Also voted with opposition motions, such as, for example, he voted to decriminalize marijuana prior to the legalization going through. So when they announced that they were going to legalize it, but it wasn't legalized yet, said, well, since you announced it, why don't you decriminalize it in the meantime? Right, so people stop getting charged. He's very much a bit of an activist. He's a trained constitutional lawyer. In addition to that,
Oh, okay.
not just a pretty face, and not just someone who's extremely articulate and media savvy. This could be good.
Mm-hmm.
This could make things really interesting. So yeah, that's something that we need to keep our eyes out for, because Nate, good move. Good move.
Well done.
Yeah, I like that, and that will definitely get people talking about the Liberals, because he's a compelling figure, and media is interested in him. He's already had an interview already, because I listened to a full 20-minute interview on it, and I think I posted it to the Twitter feed yesterday and the blog page. Really listen to it if you have the time. I think it's on a podcast called The Big Story. I think interviewed him. Yeah. Exactly, Toronto. NES is what he seems on TV. I get that feeling too, a bit like Jack Layton. I don't get a feeling that there's a private Jack. There was a private Jack and there was a public Jack. He was always
Mm-hmm.
Jack. When you saw him in private functions or you saw him working, you didn't get a vibe that he was being a different person or adopting a different persona. And I get that same thing from Nate Erskin-Smith. If we're talking about the battle of authenticity, this man is authentic. So, yeah. Got Jillian asking, what's all the buzz about Peel region splitting? That's a Doug Ford thing. I believe the Ontario government is passing some type of law to separate Mississauga, Clarendon, I believe, and there's another town in the three, but there's three of them. I think he's looking to make them three independent cities. Now, I believe the mayor of Mississauga, Bonnie Crombie, is very happy about this. I don't know how the other two mayors are thinking.
I don't know.
Are seeing this, but that's about all I know at the moment. I don't know if Brampton is the third one. Yes, sorry, thank you. Yes, thank you, Kit Linda. Brampton, and the mayor of Brampton is probably not very happy.
No, I don't think he would be.
Of that, because that'll probably be well, he's saying that he wants a lot of the money that Brampton has invested in Mississauga,
Mm-hmm.
right? Because it was all one area, wants some of that back. And of course, separating the three municipalities makes it well, way more easier for Doug Ford and friends to keep on targeting Patrick Brown for special treatment. Because he might not be the most savory guy, but you have to admit that the PC organization seems to have a hate on a mile wide and a mile long for this guy specifically.
Well, he's not exactly a nice person.
No.
He isn't. He did
No.
get look. He did get railroaded, and it turned out when they railroaded him, they didn't do their due diligence and check out the story. They just ran with it to try and get clicks and likes, and they did. And Lisa LaFlamme admitted, okay, yeah, we messed up on that one. Yeah, you destroyed a man's life over rumors that weren't true. I mean, he's not a nice man, but nobody deserved the fate that he got.
Yeah. And incidents such as those don't tend to make you a nicer man.
No.
So, but
well, the whole story of
I do find it hard to
he took me
find
upstairs to the second floor bedroom in a house that only has one floor. Like, wait a minute, maybe you should look a little bit further into it before running with the story, you know?
Yeah, I agree. Oh man. It appears that I am not the only one who has been saying that Minister of Public Safety Marco Mendicino is not the most stellar member of cabinet.
Yeah.
It seems that there was an editorial written about him that was less than flattering. And I was listening to another podcast and had Althea Raj on it. I believe she's speaking to Peter Mansbridge, if I'm not mistaken. Seems the word on the tweet is that there is a cabinet shuffle expected for some time this summer. Yeah.
Interesting.
Now, the editorial was from Don Martin, who I usually don't have much time for.
Right.
He gets it right now and then, but not that great. But let's see what he has to say. He was a nice guy, that Marco Mendicino. The public safety minister is a bright and articulate former federal prosecutor who was determined and perhaps destined to be a rising star in the Justin Trudeau cabinet. During my days as host of CTV's Power Play, he asked me for advice on how to improve his excessively partisan appearances on the show's MP panels. He is a little excessively partisan. My suggestion was simple: more friendly Marco, less scripted PMO. He clearly didn't listen. Recent antics underline what is becoming a stunning fall from grace for Mendicino as he stumbles and bumbles badly from issue to hot button issue after just 18 months on the job. 2-year-old revelations from Canada's spy agency surfaced, which found that respected Conservative MP Michael Chong and his family in Hong Kong had endured Chinese state intimidation after his vote to condemn that country's atrocious human rights record. After noting he was never informed of the threats until later, and quoting a directive ordering CSIS to immediately alert the public safety minister to matters of interest, Chong asked the obvious question: when was the minister made aware of this threat to his family? It was a plea for information for someone with a great deal of personal skin in the answer. But tone-deaf Mendicino ducked, donned his empty empathy mask to declare, quote, solidarity with Chong, and delivered a patronizing vow to, quote, work with him and all parliamentarians to make sure that he and parliamentarians get the support they need. Whatever that means. This refusal to answer the what they knew and when they knew it question was repeated more than a dozen times, with Conservative Bloc Québécois and NDP MPs lining up as one to demand a clear response, while tellingly the cheerleading Liberal MPs surrounding Mendicino mostly sat on their hands. Then came the Wednesday when everything on the Chong script changed. After days of ignoring specific questions, the Prime Minister and Mendicino emerged to declare they learned about it on that Monday. Something clearly is amiss here. If the head of CSIS doesn't think that alerting threatened MPs, the Prime Minister's Chief of Staff or Minister responsible, that an MP is facing retaliation for a vote in the House of Commons, well, it's time for new CSIS leadership.
Yeah.
Probably. That's probably a fair point.
I would say so.
Conversely, if the public safety minister wouldn't reveal his ignorance about the threat until this week, which was the only question he was asked by Conservatives on Tuesday, well, perhaps it's time for change there too. There's no evidence that that the public safety minister knew about the threat beforehand. So that's just, speculating and partisan stuff. The ministerial dodge wasn't the usual bovine enhanced fertilizer that spread with gusto around farmer fields in the Commons every spring. Okay, Don, bonus points.
Going for the bovine scatology. I like it.
I approve.
Yes, well done, sir. Well done.
Thus, we of the bovine fecal matter creation. Trademark. MPs usually unite across party lines when one of their own colleagues is under siege, particularly on a family issue, and especially when it's a threat from a foreign superpower. When the voting rights of parliamentarians face an attempted string pulling from hostile forces beyond the precinct, MPs have the unfiltered right to get the truth without the usual political fudgery. But Mendicino was all about fudging all week. Under siege for the third straight day, he refused to reveal if other MPs are under the same threat or confirm whether the allegation had been relayed beyond CSIS, even though agency officials and former directors said it would be standing operating procedure to alert the responsible ministers. Mendicino's poor handling of this incendiary issue was just another hit on the soundtrack of his very bad year. He was forced into a pride swallow by diluting his original assault-style firearms ban. Remember that? The new ban will only prohibit weapons manufactured in the future, or those not even invented yet, a jaw-dropping retreat for a minister who said banishing all these guns was essential to public safety just last year. He recently declared that Chinese police stations in Canada had been closed by the RCMP, when they were not. The RCMP apparently hasn't even visited the stations. Yeah. Oops. A 2-year-old promised to set up a foreign agent registry in Canada, which is now going to be a thing, similar to what exists in the US and other countries, had been spun off by Mendicino for pointless consultations without an end date. That one's wrong. That one was wrong because an end date did come.
Yes, but it's
at the time that was written.
Yes.
Right? We're always going to assume the worst and that it's never going to happen.
I think Mr. Mendicino needs to step down. in my humble opinion, because he's not doing anybody a good service. It's a disservice. I don't know what the man's like. I have no idea. I don't know what his personal thoughts or ambitions are, but I don't think he's suited to do the job that he's in charge of.
Well, it's the hyper-partisan thing. So he too is trying to win the nanosecond every time, and
I don't care for
he's
that.
a little fast and loose with the truth. But wait, there's more. A 2-year-old promised to set up a foreign agency. Sorry, his plan changes to allow crucial humanitarian assistance to flow into Afghanistan, where groups are holding back aid out of fear they'll run afoul of Canada's anti-terrorism laws, are moving forward in a glacial slow motion. And lest we forget the notorious fib when he assisted police forces advise the government to invoke the Emergencies Act against the Ottawa convoy protest, a statement police deny. Again, a little precision on that, while the police didn't actually say specifically the words, come and help us. Everything they had been saying for the last week is like, oh, we're in over our heads and we're drowning. So they did not formally request the help.
No.
Is everything about that was saying is like, you might not be requesting it, but you need it. So you're getting it. But again, not why lie or embellish when the truth will do. The truth is that they were a mess and somebody had to intervene. They weren't asking for help, but they were asking for help. So that would have been enough. That would have been enough, especially with the evidence that came out in the commission.
I can't trust the man. I can't trust the man.
Yep. So the editorial ends. There are many other missteps going back to the botched Afghanistan withdrawal when he was immigration minister, but space limits the list. It's obvious too late to advise him on ways to avoid becoming an ego-inflated cabinet supernova. He's already there and starting to go dark. Sadly, Marco Mendicino's once bright future as a credible cabinet influencer has been hobbled by so many missteps. He clearly has got to go. That's the bottom line. And Don, even though some of your arguments along the way weren't all that great and had a little Marco Mendiciism to them.
No argument. I agree with him.
Your end conclusion is correct.
It is.
He's got to go. And Maring's got to go with him.
It's as simple as that.
Now, I would have said that Jeanette Petitpas-Taylor also has to go with him, but she actually got the official Bilingualism Act through. The review to it. Right. And not only did she get it reviewed, but there were 301 of the 338 MPs in the House that day for the vote. And the bill passed 300 to 1.
Wow. Who was the holdout, do you know?
Anthony Housefather, Liberal, Speaker of the House, fearing that this type of bill would limit Anglophone minority rights in Quebec.
Okay.
That was his. But 300 to 1.
Wow.
And this was controversial legislation.
Yeah, but that's wow.
So in front of the mic, she may look robot, repeat, parrot, feed Media Alliance, but behind the scenes, she got it done. And in pretty spectacular fashion. So I'm willing to reconsider my claim that she's one that should be shuffled out because she might not present authentic and way too polished and just like that. But when it comes to the work,
she was able to get it done.
And really well. When's the last time something's passed 300 near unanimously that wasn't like an apple pie feel-good motherhood motion? Mademoiselle Petitpas-Taylor, félicitations.
Ben oui, là.
Thank you very much. Merci beaucoup.
Let's pivot back to Danielle Smith for a moment, if we could.
Yes.
I'm going to put up something on the screen here. This is a tweet from Danielle Smith back on April 11th. The NDP has been lying to Albertans about having to pay for health care. Under no circumstance will any Albertan ever have to pay out of pocket for access to their family doctor or to get the medical treatment they need. Watch full video below. Okay, well, we're just going to scroll down here to this. I'll play this in just a second. I just have to re-rack the tape, as they say, because I forgot to turn on the audio. So give me a sec. And let's just pull this up, and I'll hit the share, and then I will blow up the screen, and I'll press this button, and we have her up here. And here we go.
A regular checkup to your doctor, does that really have to be something that is covered 100% by government, or should that be paid for out of your health spending account? And maybe you don't want to see a doctor this year.
Smith touted $375 per person to help pay for massage therapy, eye appointments, and cavity fillings at the dentist. She equated it to 10 visits with your family doctor, suggesting once people get used to the concept of paying out of pocket for more things themselves, then we can change the conversation on healthcare.
Not only would we seed it with a bit of money, but then we would give you the incentive to put more money in for your own medical needs, get your employer to put money in, raise money to put money in, get family members to donate money in.
These are videos that gained traction with the NDP over the weekend, with leader Rachel Notley calling them radical.
She's talking about American-style credit card medicine.
A regular checkup to your
Because once we get people used to paying for some of their healthcare, then we can get them used to paying even more
for all of it. It's exactly what it is.
It's literally the reverse of the ACA thing in the States when they were saying, like, we got to kill this now because once Americans get used to having some ACA, they're going to like it, and then we won't be able to take it away.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So this one is like, yes, we understand that Canadians have gotten used to not paying proactively for healthcare, but let's get them in a little bit. Once they get used to it, they'll see it's not so bad, and then we can suddenly download more costs. Or, oh, we're not paying for this anymore. Oh, well, the price of oil dropped, and, we funded 30% of our healthcare budget based on oil revenues that we didn't know were actually going to come in. So your eye appointment. Johnny, we can't afford the renovations to the legislature and your kidney transplant. Who's a trooper? Who's my little trooper? Yeah.
How's Take Back Alberta going to feel when they realize that their sovereignty movement will make them dead broke?
And that they won't emerge with a piece of land, like 1 millimeter of land, because it's all treaty territory.
The entire province is treaty territory.
I see every Indigenous person is like, congratulations, you're sovereign. Now get off our fucking lawn.
Leave. Get off my lawn. What? No, I live here. Oh, no, you
not
don't.
Anymore, you don't.
Time for you to go. You want to be a sovereign nation? Good luck.
Fight our fight.
Do that.
Fight our fight.
Yeah.
We've been at it for 450 something years. Get to the back of the line. We were here first. You want to be a sovereign nation?
We're at the front of the line. We've been here a long time. Yeah.
Put in your 400, 500 years.
Then let us know.
Then we'll talk.
Jeez. They just keep going on. You know what it is? It's enraging people. Like I said, time and time again, it's win the nanosecond, enrage people who are not informed or ill-informed to get them on your side. But they cannot, it's an unwinnable battle because like you just stated, it's all treaty territory, all of it.
The only solution is coexistence.
It's that or nothing.
One person gets it all, or we coexist. That's it.
Make your choice,
About the official languages, it was Bill C-13, and the bill would modernize the Official Languages Act and recognize that French is the only official language in Canada that's under threat and needs protection within federal workspaces. The bill passed third reading in the House of Commons on Monday. Like I said, Anthony Housefather expressed concerns about the bill's effect on minority English-speaking community in Quebec and was the only one to vote against it. This is a really historic day. It's a really important day for this legislation and an important day for our country, Official Languages Minister Janet Petitpas-Taylor said following the vote in the House. The bill, when it becomes law, will introduce immigration to the Official Languages Act for the first time and recognize its importance to the vitality of Francophone minority communities outside Quebec. So basically what this bill is doing is kind of aligning federal policy a little more with the Quebec Charter of Human Rights with regard to language so that there's no discrepancy between them, which is a good thing, first of all. Now, a lot of people might be scared. What does that mean? It's because, you hear Bill 101. Does that mean that everywhere in Canada now we're going to have to put signs twice as many in French as in English? No. It's about stuff like, your right to work in French, right? And not only work in French in Quebec, but work in French. For example, if you work for federally regulated industry and you're Francophone and you live in Vancouver, that you have a right to work in French, right? And same thing in English, in Quebec, if you're working for federally regulated industry, well, they're in English. You have the right to work in your first language. So
and you got to understand for the folks watching in different parts of the country or different parts of the world, in the province of Quebec, if you live and work in the Montreal environment, you most likely speak both languages. If you are unilingually English, and there are a lot of unilingual Anglophones in Montreal, there have been for centuries.
You can get by.
You can totally get by. Totally, 100%. Look,
your life is not as rich as if you had access to both cultures, but you can get by.
You can have a great life. And look, if you go into any restaurant in Montreal at any time, sit down and pay attention to the table next to you, because their language will go back and forth mid-sentence from English to French and back constantly.
Yep.
And I don't know how they do it, because I can't keep track. I wish I could do that, because it just blows my mind. It's a Montreal thing, right? And we do get it here in Ottawa.
Franco-Ontarian thing, but
yeah, it's a Franco-Ontarian thing, because we do get it in Ottawa, Gatineau as well. But it's unique in this part of the world, and I don't know of any other place in the world where it's quite like that. And I'm not saying that it isn't. I'm sure there are parts of the world like that, but it's a uniquely Canadian, Eastern Ontario, Western Quebec thing, and Northern Ontario, because there's Hearst, for example, is a huge Franco community. Yeah,
Sturgeon Falls and
Spanish, the whole area.
Timmins.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I have a little piece of good news here.
Oh, okay.
Let me just share this screen real quick. Interesting, just came across my feed, so I like to. Good news feed. This is data from the period from January through April in 2023 of this year. EU renewables are producing more power than fossil fuels.
Yes. Yes.
Fossil fuel power is down 16% to start the year. Look at that.
Good stuff.
Isn't that wonderful?
Good stuff. More, please.
Yes.
More,
That's
please.
a good thing.
Yeah. And we're at the point now where the cost of putting renewables in place as energy sources is starting to cost less than building.
Well, and that was
infrastructure.
That was the thing. That was the thing that frightened a lot of people away from the idea of green energy. It's like, it's going to cost us too much. It's like, it's going to cost us more if we don't.
Mm-hmm.
Start now. Yes, the startup cost is going to be expensive, but if we don't,
we've hit
do
the
it,
tipping point now.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah.
So things will accelerate, but we've hit the tipping point now. We're no longer at just early adopters now, right? You have like the pioneers and the early adopters, and then sort of like the mass starts to come in. We're at the point where the mass is starting to come in, and then you'll have the stragglers, and then
eventually
the last to adopt.
Well,
you're gonna take my Dodge Ram truck out of my cold dead hands, because I'm never gonna ride a battery powered Dodge truck until there are no more diesel or gas Dodge trucks left to buy, like 20 years ago. And then, what are you going to do? Not drive a truck, or are you going to let go of that battery thing?
I was surprised at how quickly the uptake in electric cars. I never thought it would happen in my lifetime. In all honesty, I never thought it would, and yet it's the fastest growing. And look, when you've got all the big car companies, including Volkswagen, who's building their battery factory here in Ontario. And that Volkswagen, by the way, is the largest car company on earth. So when all the car companies go full on in with electric, and they're all walking away from internal combustion engines, with the exception of maybe some big rig trucks for diesel until they can really get the battery system worked out there, it's quite telling. And the big thing that I thought was the holdup was building the infrastructure, the charging infrastructure, but they can build them very fast now. They've got it down to science, as the saying goes. They can build them very, very fast. There's not nearly enough of them here in Ottawa, which is ridiculous, because I think Kingston has more charging stations than Ottawa does.
Possibly,
which is ridiculous.
We also have a life cycle plant here, though.
Well, I'm not even going on a per capita basis. I mean, just plain and simple. There's more charging stations I've seen in Kingston than there are in Ottawa. And Ottawa's Canada's capital. We're supposed to be the leader of this.
Yep.
Like, come on.
Got Mohan going. They're testing electric big rigs right now. CN, I believe, is testing electric trains.
Yeah.
like this. And there's some cities that have been testing more electric buses and stuff. So I mean, it's happening. It's happening. And you were mentioning that I still have more stuff on the official languages thing that I'll get back to. But since you mentioned the Volkswagen battery plant, like they're having that thing with Stellaris right now, right?
Oh, okay, yeah.
Like, so they were built. That was the one that was announced last year. That was the first one, where I believe the government put in, I think, about 500 million to that to help in incentives. And then since then, the United States passed the Inflation Reduction Act, and then we had the Volkswagen thing, which is a gigantic plant, which we've offered about $13 billion in advantages. Now, people got upset about that, and I can understand because that's a lot of money. But we're also talking about gaining a foothold in an emerging industry where we don't have yet. So
That's right.
The initial one is going to be expensive, the initial, and then eventually when you get a base, when we were doing Silicon Valley North, once it sort of became known as Silicon Valley North, then other people started coming and you didn't have to offer incentives because there was a mass. And it made it sense to be there. There's a massive businesses there. So this is probably what's going to be happening with this as well. But you got Stellaris that has come back and said, yeah, we're halting construction on this plant, this EV battery plant, because you offered these Volkswagen a whole bunch of stuff that you didn't offer us. It's like, well, yeah, but you made the deal several years before.
Yeah.
And that was a deal terms that you were quite happy with at the time when you knew. Now things have changed in the United States, and now you're going, okay, we're going to hold building this plant hostage until you give us the same incentives that you gave Volkswagen. Now, normally I would tell people to go pound sand, but we're trying to establish a foothold. So they've got us a bit by the short and curlies here.
I shave mine. Did you want to address this comment here from Tavi G on the screen?
All right. The comment is, mining isn't great for the environment either, though. True.
Yes, and you know why I want you to address it, because you are particularly close to a person that has developed a way to 100% recycle the batteries.
Yep, and that's the whole point, right? That's why we're my sweetie's working on the recycling side, because just known deposits of lithium around the world are still not enough. They've calculated how much demand there will be and how much they'll need. So you're at present, based on known discoveries, you're not going to be able to mine everything that we need. So you got to be able to remine the batteries.
Recycle. Yeah.
Right. And the thing is, with lithium specifically, to have battery grade lithium, there's only a little, like almost everything has some sodium to it, right? Like this, but you can't have sodium more than and it's an infinitely small amount. Like we're talking like lots of zeros after the decimal before you get a number, or else the lithium is not good and you can't use it in a battery. There's just too much. So his process actually, because it takes the lithium out of the battery itself, has lithium that's already battery grade, which is great. You don't have to process it even more. So yeah. This is and then with the process, recovering the heat so that you can use it, recovering the CO2 so that you can use it at another system, and just all these recoveries, to try to make it as green as possible. And that's why he has no liquid, no solid waste. He has a little bit of gaseous waste, but that's you've eliminated 2 of the 3 already. You're good.
Yeah, well, I've addressed it with a few people. They go, well, what are we going to do with all those batteries? And I go, well, actually, my business partner's partner developed a way to recycle it and reuse the lithium to create new batteries from. They're like, okay.
And you also have like the lithium in his process, the cobalt, manganese, and nickel precipitate on its own, and the lithium precipitates. So you have the lithium, but then you have all this cobalt, nickel, and manganese, which are also needed, particularly cobalt. That could probably go through another. Remember those things that they used to have on TV, the magic coin sorters?
Yeah.
Right. I imagine something like that, right? All these atoms have different sizes like this. And you just have this thing that you shake them through, and there's the cobalt, there's the nickel, and there's now you've got like 3 other products that you can again, reprocess, refine, and resell, right? Rather than having to go mine them. So his process actually, recuperates all 4 minerals, right? Separates them from everything else. But the lithium is selling like something like 200 something $1,000 a pound or something.
Yeah.
Dollars.
So
So the cost. So we have to worry about cost recovery. I think if something's selling about like $200,000, I think you're going to be okay on cost recovery there.
yeah.
You can build
Well,
a $1 billion
and
project, that'd be
let's
fine.
cycle this around for a little bit here. I'm trying to make a big circle on this. The reason I went down this avenue was, and what is it? Alex is again. He's a PhD, a doctor.
Yeah.
Right? He has his
Yeah.
doctorate.
Yeah, engineering
Doctorate, PhD in engineering. What do we always think paramount in this country? Education, higher education.
Mm-hmm.
How do we help people achieve higher education? Oftentimes through scholarship programs like the one from the Trudeau Foundation. A scholarship program, not a think tank.
I see what you did there.
You like that?
I see what you did there. That's sweet. That's smooth. Ooh, yeah. Grizzly
was a
smooth.
salesman.
Yep. We have Kit Ellen asked, is there any data we can read about this yet? Not yet. Kit Mohan said, I think it's still in the patent application stage. You are correct. There are two things that are going on. There's the patent application stage. So it's in the final stage. It's at the U.S. Patent Office and the Canadian Patent Office, where they've hired a prosecutor who's working night and day to try to disprove the patent.
Mm-hmm.
And if the prosecutor can't, then the patent is awarded. At the same time, simultaneously, the manuscript for his research for publication in a scientific journal is with the journal at the moment, and is waiting a review and all of that kind of stuff. So hopefully they will be able to release the data soon. But yeah, this is very exciting. I'm very excited for him.
This could lead to the possibility of you getting the studio built out in the separate studio out in the back a little sooner than originally planned.
That would be very nice. Okay, let's get us back to finish off the official languages thing here. So the bill will give people working in federally, as we mentioned, regulated private businesses in Quebec or in official language minority communities outside Quebec the ability to work in French and be served in French. However, that won't apply to the broadcasting sector. That's already covered in the Broadcasting Act. Mm-hmm. So this is in Quebec and in areas in Canada where there is a sufficient number of people who speak the minority language to make it worth delivering the service. Right? So it's a bit like a La Loi 8, Law 8 in Ontario for providing services to Franco-Ontarians. So in areas where the population warrants. Now, I don't know if it is stated in the law or whether it will be stated in the regulations what percentage of the population in the areas need to be French speaking for the services to be guaranteed in that area. I believe when Law 8 passed way back when I was still in high school, I believe it was 10%. That may have been amended since then. Let's see. A previous version of this legislation was introduced in 2021 but didn't pass. It was later tabled in 2022, and if it became... the very later version was tabled in March 2022. Petipa Taylor said it will also apply equally to all official language minority communities in Canada, whether they are French-speaking people living in Manitoba or English-speaking Quebecers. So, that's what the thing that makes anti-house fathers vote a little strange, because the law does explicitly say it, but he's still concerned about it, which is fine. You're a representative. You're allowed to do it. That's the whole point. Warren Newman, the senior general counsel in the Federal Justice Department, told MPs during a committee study of the bill that the mention of Bill 96 will not limit services to English-speaking minorities. And that's one of the reasons why Anthony Housefather is there, is because there's a reference specifically to Quebec's Bill 96 in this legislation. Quote, I don't see that federal services from federal institutions would be in any way compromised by the mere mention of the fact that the Charter of the French language and other linguistic regimes are matters that the government recognizes as the overall context. So there you go. I want to be very clear to Anglophones listening to us today that C-13 in no way takes away any rights away from official minority communities, and that includes our Anglophone communities in Quebec. So there you go.
Cool.
300 to 1. 300 to 1.
That's how often does that happen?
Just like I said, unless it's some motherhood motion.
Mm-hmm.
Canada's the greatest country in the world. Yeah, okay, we voted unanimously for that. Yay. Right? It's like, those are the types of things that get that. This, considering all the stuff that all the noise that they've been making about Bill 96 and the Prime Minister not really wanting to stand up for the rights of Anglophones in Quebec because he didn't rush in and say, I'm going to use my Supreme Court hammer right away when it's not time because the court isn't even out. The case isn't even through the Quebec court system yet. That they would just all vote unanimously. The Conservatives that were there voted unanimously for this bill that has things in it that they say that they stand against when they're raising money for it. Yeah, consistency has never been a Conservative strong point. I think we're close to the end, Mr. Grizzly, but there's a couple of things I wanted to show that were really interesting to me. One of the first things is Martha Stewart did something a little interesting.
Yeah, and I'm like, damn.
Yeah. Martha Stewart is on the cover of Sports Illustrated's 2023 swimsuit issue.
At 81.
At 81. Now, Martha Stewart was a model.
Yes.
When she was younger.
Well,
and she still is now, but she got started out in modeling before she became like the maven of homemaking.
See, I didn't know she was 81, but I'm like, in my head, she's still in her 50s, right? But no, she's been on the scene for like 30 years, and she was in her 50s when she started. So yeah, okay, that all makes sense. But in my head, she's still in her 50s. Now, some of the comments I saw, don't read the comments.
No, don't read the comments.
Don't.
This one's fantastic. The upper left one here.
Oh yeah,
that's great. Yeah. Look at all the movement in the hair and stuff. That's gorgeous. No, I this is great. You know what? And a lot of people have stuff with Martha Stewart, but come on, man. Yes, she got dinged on the insider trading thing, but she took her lumps. Unlike some people.
And her good friend, Snoop Dogg.
And then,
well, she has more street cred than him because she's actually done time.
Yes. Because she's always welcomed at the cookout.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
She's cool. Like, I like this woman, I have to say.
I do too.
Because she can
and she was scapegoated too. She was scapegoated for the insider trading. They made an example of her because there was a lot of men who were doing the same damn thing.
They made an example of the woman.
Got away with it.
Yeah. They made the woman pay for everything the men did.
Yeah.
Well, welcome to history.
Yeah. Nothing to see here.
The reason they call it history, you keep on making the women
story
for what they did. So yeah, and the other thing I would like to show you is an excerpt from our concert, kids.
Okay.
The choir with which I sing has had its concert available online. It's available online until the 22nd. So I normally promote it a lot more, but again, like I said, I've been just so busy that I've not been able to. So it's called Regali Musicali, Musical Gifts and Genius. You can order it up until May 22nd, 2023, 10 p.m. If you go to melos-earlymusic.org, we'll put the link. But normally I can't show you stuff because we have instrumentalists, and the instrumentalists are covered by the union.
Right.
And therefore we can't show. But we had one a cappella performance.
Okay.
And this one. So that we can show. So it is, oh, darn, now I can't remember the title of it. That's so terrible.
Well,
but it's by a composer named Gesualdo. So if you like some beautiful music, kids, well, sit back and relax because we have a little treat for you. And of course, I'm playing this because I hope you will order the concert and watch it in the privacy of your homes at your own leisure, because the arts need a little help, particularly classic arts. All right. Hope you enjoy, kids. I'm just going to make sure that the volume is good. There you go. And here we go.
Cool.
And there you go, kids. So if you thought that was nice and you would like to help us out, I've given a link here to Mr. Grizzly, which he will put in the chat. And so that was Ave Dulcissima Maria by Gesualdo. But we have songs in Persian and in Turkish, I believe, and in German. And as you saw the instrumentalists there. We had ouds and santours and recorders, cellos, and harpsichords, and it's really, 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 really worth it. So if you could, we'd really appreciate it. The tickets are $15 to watch it at home, and it's available till the 22nd. And it would really, really help us out because COVID, well, did a number on our choir's finances. And we're also trying to record an album. So we record on the last weekend of June. So we're trying to raise a bit of money to cover the costs of that as well. All right. So it's my birthday, but you got a little bit of the present there with that. All right, Miss Grizzly, do we have a show?
We do, because I have to go take care of some things now, so it's time for me to go.
All right, and I've got to take care of some things too. I got a house to clean.
Tell me about it.
Kids, that's the end of this episode of the Daily Beaver Podcast, the Birthday Beaver Podcast. We hope you love listening to us because we love making this for you. Remember that sharing is caring and word of mouth is priceless. So please let your peeps know about us. And because democracy is something that you do, well, if you can, please donate to the Red Cross's appeal. Do the neighborly thing and help out your brothers and sisters in places that are being ravaged. About 90 forest fires in Alberta last time I heard. Close to 30 of them out of control, and now 60 of them in BC. Yeah. The federal government is matching 3-1, and Rogers is matching another time up to the first 1 million. So get your donations in early to maximize them. If you really like this podcast, you can find us on the Crier Media Network, as well as all Beaver Grizzly friendly platforms. Stars and reviews are appreciated. So thank you very much, and please be generous. And thank you to everyone who put some nice comments in the chat there about the performance. Thank you. Appreciate that. We'd love to hear from you, so please reach us on our Facebook at True North Eager Beaver, our Twitter feed at True Eager, or by email via truenortheagerbeaver@gmail.com. And if you subscribe to our pod page, podpage.com/The True North Eager Beaver, with a hyphen between each one of those words, well, we'll be able to send you our offerings as soon as they are ready. Why not also subscribe to our True North Eager Beaver Media Incorporated YouTube channel? That helps us out big time. If you happen to be listening to us at home or watching on another platform, if you could take some time to just stroll on over to our YouTube page and subscribe, that would help us out a lot. A lot. It would. We can't do this without your kind and generous support. So if you feel that we've done a particularly good show, or if you are, if you're watching, you can, Mr. Grizzly's going to make something pop up right there. Some birthday magic. There you go. And then you got a little squiggly thing. That's our QR code. So if you bring your cell phone up to that little thing, that will bring you directly to our coffee page. And if you are listening, well, our coffee page is ko-fi.com/eagerbeaver. Yeah. And, well, that's where you can make your contribution to the Eager Beaver Birthday Fund. Was that the Eager Beaver Birthday Suit Fund? I need a new one. Anyway.
Birthday Suit Fund? Is that to bail you out of jail because you've been walking down the street buck naked?
Sarah, I'm so hairy. How could you tell? Seriously.
I thought he was wearing mohair pajamas.
Seriously. All right. So yes, if you'd like to kitchen LOL, aka the Friday night sex show. Yes. Okay. Apparently I should be wearing my birthday crown. So there you go. Hopefully I can get it I don't know how to make it stay on though with the headphones.
Yeah,
That's the problem.
you'd have to,
So I'm going to have my hand
you
on
have
the
to
back of
rig
my head.
something up there.
Yeah, pulleys and rigs and stuff. From the Beaver Lodge,
male prostitute.
Grizzly, lift her up. From the Beaver Lodge, zip ties to the headphone.
Sure, that works.
Where are those January 6 people when you really need them? They've got all the zip ties.
I have a few thousand.
From
Work.
the
It's a work thing. It's a work thing.
yes. You have them. Yes, I've seen you. You whip them out and tie them pretty fast too.
No.
You're almost like a magician with this. They just they're whoa, okay. Like keep your hands close to your body and don't let him get too close because like within 0.4 seconds he can have you immobilized. In certain situations, that's a good thing. Anyway, from the Beaver Lodge, this is
not my jam. Not my jam. Not my jam. To each their own. If that's your thing, that's your thing, not my thing.
It's your freak flags fly, babies. From the Beaver Lodge, this is your eager beaver saying, until next time, dear kids, it can be a tough world out there. So be kind and gentle with yourself. Hey, some people just squirm too much. Mr. Grizzly, do you have some words of wisdom for our kids and cops?
I don't even know what to say now after that comment. I'm kind of verklempt here. Jesus, man. There's something wrong with you. Something wrong with you.
I'm a bad boy you could bring home to mama. I look respectable in the streets. I'm a gentleman on the streets. Anyway, you could finish that sentence. You could finish that sentence. On Friday, we are sluts. Yes.
All right. We're out of here.
Everybody's happy. I'm feeling cheeky. Okay. Mr. Grizzly, please.
You are listening to a True North Eager Beaver Media Podcast. The True North Eager Beaver podcasts are proudly brought to you by our founding sponsors, the Miss V Mysteries from Corvid Moon Publishing, your source for science fiction, fantasy, and cozy mysteries featuring a broad diversity of characters. CanadianTarot.com, your uniquely Canadian online eclectic tarot community and forum, and The Peppermaster, hot pepper sauces made from fresh farm ingredients to thrill your taste buds and expand your mind.
Still dancing, huh?
Hey, the birthday dance.
If you beautiful people could do us a small favor and hit the like button, the little thumbs up button there, give us a like. And if you could share our page with anybody who think you would find this informative and entertaining, and then, hit that little subscribe button, which is down in the bottom right-hand corner if you're looking at your screen. That would do us a solid. Got a little photo here to put on the screen for you.
All right, kids. Yeah.
Casual Friday.
James and I are twins. Look at that. Look at that. So, Casual Friday tonight. Hopefully, I will be able to be there.
I'll pop
so,
in
please join us. I believe at 9 o'clock Eastern, I believe is when we start.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you start. I pop in usually around 10 for a little bit, depending upon how tired I am. And feeling much better than I was this time last week. So,
good.
Should be good to go.
So please join us. And kids, please, it's my birthday, but eat some cake.
Eat some cake.
Eat all the cake. All the cake. Have a great long weekend.